person is not there. Do we also have a representative of the Federation of Kenya Employers, FKE? Any representative FKE? You are there. Kaidre, come to. So the first representative for can we have our IT person picking a presentation from one of our delegates here, please? IT person, come with your mobile gadget to take a presentation, please. And we are now getting ready to take off. The first presentation this afternoon will be coming from the State Department for Labor and Skills Development, representative of the PS, Bwana Shadrach Mwongolo. We have Dr. Wanjiko Kamau Kariuki taking us through this session. And because afternoons can be very challenging, I want to call you to attention. Please take note of any issues that you may have from the presentation or any questions, and reserve them to the end of the presentation. So with that, I want to invite the presenter for this afternoon, Dr. Wanjiko Kariuki. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. As you have heard, my name is Dr. Wanjiko Kariuki. I work in the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection. I just want to make a short presentation just to give you an overview of how the labor market is behaving so that you can see how industrialization plugs in. And I'll start with the first slide, and that is the population of Kenya. You are aware that we did a census in 2019 where we had 47.6 million Kenyans. As of now, it is predicted that we are 52.4 million. The reason I've brought out these statistics is so that you can now see in the next slide where our youth are. The youth aged between 20 to 34 are now about 27% of our population. But when you look at the working age, that is the population between 15 and 64 years, you find that our youth are about 45%. So we have a huge number of youth, normally called the youth bulge. And a youth bulge can become a demographic dividend if we make sure that the youth are employed. If the youth are not employed, it becomes a demographic bomb. This is our employment. The reason I wanted to bring it up is so that you can compare the population in the formal sector and the population, the working population in the informal sector. If you look at 2019 up to 2023, our workers in the formal sector have been ranging between 3.1 and 3.3 million. But if you look at the informal sector, you find that the population has been ranging between 15 million and 16.6 million. So that represents an informal sector share of over 80%. In other words, we are saying that for every 10 people working in Kenya, 8 are working in the informal sector and 2 are working in the formal sector. So when we are discussing industrialization, it's good to keep that in mind. This is the distribution of our workers in the formal sector. In the manufacturing sector, we have the highest number of workers, followed by agriculture, and followed by thereafter wholesale and retail trade, repair of motor vehicles, motorcycles. When we come to the informal sector, you can see there's a change here. The highest number of workers are in wholesale and retail trade, repair of motor vehicles and motorcycles. And in manufacturing, we have almost 3.4 million. This does not augur well for industrialization. So as you talk about industrialization and the informal sector, you find that we are not doing well. We need to get the informal sector ready and running towards industrialization. Because of inclusivity, I've added some statistics on where we are in terms of males and females. In education, we have more women than men. But when it comes to manufacturing, agriculture, wholesale and retail trade, construction and ICT, we still have men dominating. And therefore we can say that manufacturing, agriculture, trade, construction and ICT are male-dominated professions. You can see the number of women are very few in these professions, in these occupations. Perhaps only in agriculture where it is almost going to get at par with the men. So what does unemployment look like in Kenya? Somebody said it's good to benchmark, and therefore if you look at Kenya and other countries, our unemployment rate standing at a projected 5.4 in 2024, you'll find that developed countries of course are doing much better than us. USA, UK, Japan, Germany are much lower. But when you compare our unemployment to the EU and the world, you see that we are almost at par. Unemployment rate of Kenya in comparison with developing countries, we have compared with India, Egypt, Rwanda and South Africa. We are almost at par with India, but we are doing much better than Egypt, Rwanda and South Africa. Youth unemployment. This is where the elephant in the room. The ILO refers to the youth as those between 15 and 24. So you find a lot of statistics within that range. So when we compared Kenya with developed countries, we were much higher than USA, Japan and Germany. But UK had a very high unemployment rate compared to Kenya. When you compare Kenya with the European Union and the world, you find that the EU, we are doing much better, but with the world, we are almost at par. So generally, unemployment in terms of benchmarks, you find that some countries are doing better than us, but we are almost at par with regional statistics. Compared now to the developing countries, when you look at India, we are almost at par. But again, Egypt, Rwanda, and South Africa are not doing well with regard to youth unemployment. The youth unemployment for Africa stands at 9.7. For Kenya is 11.9. So there we are not doing well. Now this is the youth unemployment as defined by the way we define our youth between 18 and 35. But our statistics range from between 20 to 34. So looking at our statistics now, the way we define our youth, according to our legal frameworks, you find that at the moment we have about 820,000 youth who are not working. And this is as per the definition for the ILO. ILO defines unemployment as people who are looking for work and they are available for work. So for those who are looking for work and are available, we have about 800,000 who need to get employment. But if you look at the next one, number of combined unemployed and potential labor force, this includes our youth who are not looking for work and those who are unavailable for work. Sometimes it is referred to as youth who have given up on looking for work. So if you look at our projections, you find we have about 2.2 million. So if you compare the first row and the second row, we are saying 800,000 youth do not have employment, but about 1.2 have given up on looking for work. But we normally refer to them as the potential labor force. Then we have youth who are underemployed, and they are ranging between 500,000, meaning that they are not working at the optimum levels. And then we have youth who are experiencing long-term unemployment, meaning they have been unemployed for over 1 year. There we have a range of 500,000. Again, that's not a good number. Then again, we have the youth who are not in employment and in education, normally called NEET. We have about 2.8 million. So when you discuss industrialization, these statistics should remain in mind so that we look at industrialization as a pathway for creating jobs for our youth. So what is the government doing to create employment? Right now, we have adopted a model which we are calling Kazi Maju Baharini, Kazi Mtandaoni, and Kazi Kwa Ground. Kazi Maju Baharini are the international employment opportunities. Kazi Mtandaoni are the digital jobs. And Kazi Kwa Ground is where industrialization comes in. Kazi Kwa Ground, this is just a highlight. These are some of the national employment programs that the government has had. Between 2018 and 2024, we have had about 400,000 youth benefiting from these programs. But again, this was the data we were able to obtain. Currently, data is very fragmented along various MDAs and counties. So the numbers could actually be more. Kazi Mtandaoni, these are the digital platform jobs. We do not have proper statistics on the youth who are working in the digital platform jobs. But when we look at the number who are trained, particularly on Ajira, you can see that the numbers are increasing. And as of 2023-2024, we had about 150,000 youth who benefited from Ajira and therefore transitioned into the digital labor market. But there's a study that was done by mobilize and MasterCard, and they have given us an estimate of 1.2 million youth who are in the digital platforms. The challenge has been that most of these youth have entered into the informal sector. So we are now talking about informal gig workers. Once they enter the digital platform, it is very hard to get the youth. And if you try to ask them what they are doing, they will disappear. So it's very hard to get them in our statistics. Kazi Maju and Kazi Baharini, again also here our statistics are very fragmented, but these are the numbers as per the youth who have been attested when they travel outside Kenya to get employment. So in 23-24, we had about 90,000 youth who traveled to get jobs outside Kenya with verified contracts. We are also looking at seafarers, those who are going to work in the ships. We had about 2,000. Diaspora remittances. Many people complain that labor export sometimes is brain drain, but if you look at the diaspora remittances, they are very high, and we are being told that they have now exceeded agriculture. So as of January, we had $5 billion coming from the diaspora, Kenyans working outside. Countries with the highest job vacancies, this is per the data that we have with the National Employment Authority. The Gulf Cooperation Council countries are the ones giving us the highest job vacancies. This includes Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, and Oman. Saudi Arabia had the highest number of vacancies that they are providing to Kenyans. We did a skills gap study, and these are the areas in high demand outside Kenya based on the vacancies that are reported on the National Employment Authority website. The high demand is in home care, transportation services, construction, cleaning services, accommodation and food services, security, health sector. When we look at skill supply trends and gaps, again the data is not good. We have been trying to get education to put the data together in terms of the graduates who are coming out of the system, and it is still work in progress. So the data we have is based on surveys that have been done and the economic survey. If you look at Kenya Utalii College, between 2019 and 2023, they produced 9,000 graduates, but this is not able to meet the global demand based on our statistics. So we feel that there is need to produce more graduates in hospitality. Health workforce mismatch. We have high unemployment of health workers, but at the same time we have labor shortages in the health sector. Why is this happening? We are told that the county governments have limits on the number of health workers they can employ, and therefore they're experiencing labor shortages, and at the same time we have health workers who can't get jobs. This includes doctors, clinical workers and nurses, and therefore you are finding that some of these health workers are leaving Kenya to work outside. In TVET, based on a study that was done, we found that there are gaps when it comes to home care, transport, construction, and security. These are areas they need to produce more graduates to enter the global labor market. Wages, you also told us to talk about wages. Based on the economic survey, we are finding that in the major towns, the highest wage was 34,000 on average, and the lowest was 15,000. In the former municipalities, it was 32,000, and the lowest was 14,000, and all other towns was 30,000 and 8,000 on the lower side. Labor productivity, based on ILO statistics, which are estimates, it shows that labor productivity is improving. It was down in 2020 because of COVID, but it is improving gradually. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Dr. Wanjilo. We'll now invite questions before we go to the next presenter, so that we don't lose sight of what we've heard. I'm sure you've had a good breakdown of the labor statistics, and we have Dr. Wanjilo. She'll be able to answer any issues that you may have. So I'm welcoming questions. Yes.
Thank you very much for your presentation. My concern is, you say 94% of people in Saudi Arabia, and we don't get amusing stories about Saudi Arabia. What steps are you taking to make sure that people go there and they go there properly, and they are safe, and they are not returned as another story? So this is especially in the Arab countries. Generally, the respectability of people go there because they are desperate. They go there to be mistreated, and then we say we are creating jobs. Another issue is when you talk of labor productivity, how do you measure it? Thanks.
Okay, thank you. You identify yourself.
My name is Joseph Nyongesa.
Thank you. Any other question? Yes.
Yes, good evening everyone. My name is Tim. Yes, we talking about youth and unemployment. To me, I think we are having a shortage as a nation because our sectors are not ideally absorbing the number of youth. And if we talk about the informal sectors, we are trying to industrialize ourselves, but we talk about job creation. So if we do not consider an easy setup for industries, that would mean it involves so many processes to start up. What are the industry's consideration in a way that we can create more jobs to reduce the number of youths who are not employed both in the formal and informal sectors? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question?
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Caleb Odhiambo. I'm the secretary for Kenya Agriculture Student Association, a body that embodies more than 2,500 students registered in the universities and in the TVETs. My question is that from the statistics, what is said that the youths are counted between the age of 19 to 24, but you find that right now, we as the youth, whatever is said is actually different from whatever we are facing in the ground. We are told of percentage that I don't think it's the actual thing that is happening. There are very many youth that are jobless, but if you work according to whatever you are giving us in the screen of 800,000, I think the figure is very wrong. I think you need to review, because that is for the seminars, but not for something that is happening in the ground. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we will have the presenter first of all think about the questions, and then we'll have the other presenter come in, and we'll have a session of questions after we've had the presentations finalized with. So I'll invite the Principal Secretary, Gender and Affirmative Action, represented by Peter Michemo. Karibu.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Peter Michemo from the State Department for Gender and Affirmative Action. My name is Peter Michemo from the State Department for Gender and Affirmative Action, and I would like to briefly align myself to the theme of this event on manufacturing. One thing we know is that manufacturing is actually one of the key industries that is actually leading to growth of economies, not only in Africa but also in other countries. If you look at some of the countries that have been able to perform better in terms of development and economic growth, you realize that manufacturing is one of the key aspects which they actually emphasize. I want also to say that behind this, some of the indicators which actually determine economic growth and development are issues of social dynamics. These are dynamics that are related to the way we include various groups in the society in the process of economic development that will lead to sustainable development. I also want to say that the State Department for Gender and Affirmative Action is actually key and mandated to actually ensure that there is a just, fair and transformed society which is free from gender discrimination in all spheres of life. The mission is department is to coordinate gender mainstreaming, national development planning, and promote equitable political and socio-economic development for women, men, girls, and boys. The mandate of the department is to ensure there is gender policy management, special programs for women's empowerment, gender mainstreaming in MDS, community mobilization on gender issues, domestication of international treaties, conventions on gender, policies and programs on gender violence, affirmative action policy, promoting equity, and also, among other, undertaking a national survey on special needs. Inclusivity in the workplace means that there is equal access of women, youth, and persons with disabilities. Workplace inclusivity policies and flexible work arrangements, promote equitable participation. I also want to say that gender mainstream industrial policy is very key because a gender-responsive industrial policy ensures that women and also other groups benefit from manufacturing growth. And also the aspect of public-private partnership can fund or can also assist to actually enhance this sector. The role of public-private partnership cannot be ignored in terms of strengthening gender-responsive employment standards, expanding SMEs financing, and also supporting mentorship networks for girls and women who have been left behind in this sector. I also want to say that Kenya has an elaborate legal and policy frameworks which actually promotes inclusivity in the manufacturing sector, guided by the national frameworks. These are the Constitution of Kenya, especially Article 27 of the Constitution, Employment Act of 2007, Vision, I think this one was revised, Vision 2030, our National Gender and Development Policy, and also the National Employment Authority Act, and also other international frameworks including CEDAW, ILO conventions, Beijing Platform for Action, and also Sustainable Development Goals 5 and especially SDG 5. Summarily, I just want to say that implementation in this sector has been not really been good, especially in the informal sector. There's need actually to ensure that there's strengthened enforcement of equality laws, especially in the manufacturing sector. I want to show some statistics on this. And before I say that, I want to say that some of the challenges in the manufacturing sector that are aligned with the gender or social dynamics are simply challenges on how do we reduce the gender pay gap, and also how do we ensure that there's recognition, distribution of unpaid domestic care responsibilities. Simply, I want to briefly show out the statistics. The statistics in terms of employment in this sector. I just chose these three because sometimes they are key. In manufacturing, according to the KNBS statistic of 2025, males, you can be able to see those statistics. They actually are skewed towards male, and actually there's need to come up with various measures to ensure that women also participate at par with men in this sector. You look at the labor force participation, you can be able to see that on those age groups, of course, they are actually nearing parity, but of course they are also skewed towards women at the same time. Just to summary say, there's need actually to ensure issues of women are addressed in employment in terms of employment and skills, and also in terms of ensuring that women also, not only women but also other vulnerable groups, have access to social protection, and also they can also access jobs through industrial linkages. Let me briefly also look at gender parity in training and skills development. I said this is one of the challenges we are facing in this sector. There's need actually to ensure that interventions have been geared towards ensuring that also women and also other groups, vulnerable groups, have been able to be trained and also participate in the manufacturing sector. Statistics indicate that these groups actually are actually participating more in social and health sectors, unlike men who are actually doing more of technical and engineering fields. Those are the statistics, as you can be able to see. Let's move down, please. So you can be able to see those are the statistics. You can be able to see that women actually do more of social work than technical work. Move down quickly to gender responsive skills and development. What can be done towards ensuring that these goals are achieved? One of them is simply to promote gender equity in skills development, and this involves targeted scholarships for women in STEM. We also have apprenticeship programs linking women to industry, allowing them to training curricula in industrial needs, and also collaborating with TVET institutions for gender inclusion. You can be able to see the indicators for STEM. Those ones are captured from KNBS of the census for 2019. You can be able to see that women are actually doing more of STEM than women, young men. Those are the recommendations to ensure that we strengthen STEM mentorship programs for women and girls, and so the need for enhanced affirmative action measures for girls, especially in higher learning institutions. And also to partner with innovations apps like CONSA, Metropolis, to promote inclusion. I want to say that, let me just briefly finalize and say that the gender pay gap in the manufacturing industry is actually a challenging factor. As you can be able to see, the statistics that were done by Equilib in 2019 show that approximately the Kenya gender wage gap is approximately 32%, and that one means that women are actually left behind in this sector. They only participate at a percentage of 32. Actually, the pay that goes to women in this industry, so as compared to men, is just 32%. So you look at the other East African countries, we are actually lagging behind, and there needs to be done something towards addressing this. Finally, these are the measures that we maybe could propose as a way forward to ensure that there's enforcement of equal pay laws and ensuring regular wage audits across all sectors, expanding affordable childcare and support parental leave for working parents, encouraging flexible work arrangements to balance work and care duties, expanding social protection to cover informal workers, especially women, collecting and publishing gender desiccated wage gap for better planning, and fostering public and private partnership to advance gender equality in the workplace, and finally to strengthen enforcement and monitoring of gender responsive labor policies. I want to thank you all for that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mishemo. I think we'll reserve for wrapping to the end when we have had the issues arising addressed. So we want to take issues in the area of gender, inclusivity. We have just heard from Mr. Mishemo. From the floor, can we get questions or any issues that you may have noted from the presentation just delivered about gender mainstreaming, affirmative programs, special needs, inclusivity, and everything else that has been indicated within that presentation? Any issues? Oh, we are quite happy with, okay, I can see two hands on that side. Where is somebody? Yeah, you'll get a mic just now. And Mr. Mishemo, take note of the issues arising. Apart from the two, is there any other person with an issue or a question?
Thank you very much.
Identify yourself, please.
Okay. Thank you very much for that wonderful presentation. My name is Alice. I have a question on unpaid care work. What's the ministry doing in terms of collecting time use data that is very critical when it comes to planning purposes? Thank you.
The other question? Somebody else had a question? I thought it was the same side where we had.
Yes, my question goes to the department. One is, how is the department ensuring that economic empowerment programs reach marginalized and rural women equally? And also, how is the department addressing gender bias and discrimination in workplace, hiring, promotion, and pay?
Okay. Thank you. Any more questions? Okay, now we move to the one more.
Yeah. My name is Rosemary on youth empowerment. My issue is about the statistics about the girls, because you have seen they are not taking up this STEM. So I would like to know what measures are you going to take, of which I will also be part of it, to ensure that these girls are going to participate in STEM, and of course finally now they are going to engage in the manufacturing sector.
Okay, thank you. We are hearing that girls are not in STEM sciences, so what action is being taken? So we'll have questions. The first area on labor skills addressed by Dr. Wanjilo. So I will welcome Dr. Wanjilo again on the podium to address the questions.
Yes, thank you for the questions. The first question we got was about Saudi Arabia and the concerns about what is happening there. I just want to highlight the things that the government is doing to ensure that we have safe, orderly, and regular labor migration. First and foremost, we have developed policy and strategy frameworks that are aligned with the global frameworks. We have a labor migration policy, and we also have a strategy for skills development for labor migration. These documents can be accessed on the Ministry of Labor website. Again, private recruitment agencies. We have made sure that private recruitment agencies are registered by the National Employment Authority, and if they engage in criminal behavior, they are blacklisted. So if you go to the National Employment Authority website, it's called NEAMS, N-E-A-I-M-S. You'll find the list of recruitment agencies. And there are those who have been blacklisted or they've been highlighted. And then there are those that are allowed to work. And therefore the youth should only work with those agencies that have been registered and verified by the National Employment Authority. Attestation is also taking place, where if you go to the airport and you are not attested, you cannot leave. Attestation means that the government ensures that the contract you have is verified. That is what attestation means. And therefore, there's a labor desk at the airport in Mombasa and Nairobi. Before you leave, especially if you're going to the GCC countries, they ensure that you are tested and that the labor desk is there to ensure that all these things are aligned. Again, there's a grievance redress system. There's a hotline number on the National Employment Authority website. For those who are aggrieved, they can call and action is taken. Again, we are also looking at Philippines and what they are doing. What the Filipinos have done is to ensure that they have labor attaches in almost every area in the GCC countries. For us, we had only one labor attaché, but what the government now has done is to ensure that we get more labor attaches going to these countries so that they can take care of the Kenyan workers. The challenge right now is resources, but the recruitment has been done. And finally is bilateral agreements. A bilateral agreement is good, bilateral labor agreement, because it ensures that we put in our conditions of what we require of these countries, the host countries, in terms of taking care of our workers. Right now, Kenya has 5 bilateral labor agreements between Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and UAE, and we are revising them. And then we have another set with the European countries, with Germany and Austria, and we have the Canadians right now coming. They have arrived, and next week they are coming, because again they also want to sign a bilateral agreement so that we can be able to ensure that our Kenyans are able to travel to these countries in a safe, orderly, and regular manner. Somebody asked about youth unemployment. The reason I came up with these youth unemployment statistics was because this is the conference that we have been waiting for. Because when I meet youth, sometimes I ask them, do you think the government is on the right track? And the youth are very frank. And they usually tell us, why don't you create jobs through industrialization? So when I heard this conference had been organized, I was very excited because this is what the youth have been waiting for. They want jobs to be created through industrialization. But if you look at the statistics, you find that particularly in the informal sector, they are going into trade. And some of the businesses they are running sometimes do not even make ends meet. So we would want them redirected towards industrialization so that they can create jobs. But again, as I said, we are using a three-prong approach: exporting labor, creating labor in Kenya, and digital work. Somebody has even told us create job underground, that is mining. But we consider again that as kazi kwa ground. Somebody talked about statistics. Data is a challenge. Collecting data is a challenge. The last time we had data was when we did the census, but we are likely to do another census, and that should give us a complete picture of what is happening on the ground. A lot of the youth that perhaps you are thinking are unemployed could be in the informal sector. And many of the youth, when they are asked whether they are unemployed, even if they're in the informal sector, they say that they are unemployed. So the informal sector has also created these gaps where somebody is unemployed but also in the informal sector. Because they can't make ends meet with what they get, they consider themselves unemployed. But again, if you go with the definition of the ILO, looking for work and available for work, the number is 800. But I also told you that we have 1.2 out there who are not looking for work, and it's like they have given up. So that gives us a total of 2.2. I want to stop there. Thank you.
Now we have heard the questions answered by Dr. Wanjilu, and I want us to give a good clap. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. I didn't say 3 factorial, I only said 1 clap. Thank you, but thank you. We will now hear from Mr. Mishimo addressing the issues of gender, where we heard gender is about being just, fairness, affirmative action, the mainstreaming processes, and other things like special needs and inclusivity. Let's hear the issues that have come up. You can tell us what you're doing about them. Karibu.
Okay, thank you once again. I want to say that we're actually, as a department and as a ministry, we're doing a lot towards ensuring that actually various groups participate in the manufacturing sector. And I want to say that in terms of now ensuring that issues of unpaid care work have been addressed, the government, the ministry is developing a national care policy to ensure that issues of unpaid care work in this sector have been addressed. And I think the policy is in the process of being approved. I also want to say that in terms of ensuring that data has been collected in this area on unpaid care work, KNBS has gone ahead to develop, together with the ministry, has developed a satellite account to ensure that data relating to time use surveys have been captured in the national statistical accounts. The other thing is about economic empowerment in marginalized areas. The department, the ministry is actually has developed 2 policies. One of them is the National Policy on Gender and Development, and the other one is the National Policy on Women Economic Empowerment, and also other policies and strategies. And these policies are, the ministry is in the process of building the capacity of various stakeholders to ensure that they understand these policies and also be able to implement them. And also, apart from this, there are also other mainstream programs which are showed in the presentation that the ministry is doing to ensure that economic empowerment programs have been implemented in far or hard-to-reach areas in Kenya. In terms of gender balance in promotion and pay, the ministry being aligning to the Constitution of Kenya, especially Article 27, the ministry is actually doing what gender mainstreaming, so ensuring that there's gender mainstreaming across MDS, and this is a way in which to ensure that actually there's equal representation within even the public service. And also the ministry is also partnering with private sector, especially KEPSA, to ensure that issues of gender mainstreaming in the private sector have been addressed. The last one is about inclusion of women in STEP. The ministry also collaborates with other stakeholders, especially UNESCO, to ensure that girls are actually undertaking STEM courses, especially in higher learning institutions. So this is one of the areas, and not only in UNESCO, but also with other private entities, to ensure that girls also participate in STEM courses. But also, as you know, the government also works with various stakeholders to ensure that these goals have been achieved. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Mushiemo. Can we do a good clap for him also? I think with that, now there's one question that remains, which I think should not have come in this session. Somebody asked about the setup process in industry. How do we set up a manufacturing outfit? I think I'll attempt to answer this question. And first of all, I want to indicate that I'm sure when you want to set up a manufacturing a business, the first thing is the registration. You have to register a company with the AG, and then briefing that you also have a skill that you want to utilize. Then from there, you know what your raw materials are, what you need, where you need to set up. But in terms of industry, we do assist in this process. We have the Kenya Industrial Research and Development Institute, which provides incubation services. So if you have a good idea and you are not sure of how to go about actualizing it, you can always come to the Ministry of Industry, of Investment, Trade and Industry. We'll direct you to Kiridi, where we have incubation services. And there you'll get all manner of help in all subsectors where you can hone your skills, and then they'll also give you an incubation facility, and you'll work together. But I've said you have to also be registered, legally registered. They will work with you to take you through the creation of your products, getting the standardizations, the various standards that are required for the market. And also we have another institution by the name KIPI. This is the Intellectual Property Institute. This one, when you have your good idea, you know another business person can also take it if you are not very careful. So it's always recommended that you protect your creativity, your idea, by registering with this institution. It's also under the Ministry of Industry. So if you see us, we'll direct you to where it is. Then you can start, you can do the other processes. And if you don't want to go, don't need any incubation services, then you can go ahead to register your outfit, identify physical premises where you will set up. And also in terms of premises, we have the special economic zones, we have the government ones, and we also have facilities also, which we encourage the private sector also to, we work in partnership with also the private sector. So there are various facilities available where you can set up your businesses. So if you get in touch with us, we will direct you, and you have ready business premises that you can locate your business in. We also used to have the Kenya Industrial Estates, which also provides incubation and also space. So if you get in touch with us also, we'll direct you there. And then funding, there is the Industrial Development Bank, if you are a big outfit. So basically, and also in terms of skills, there are the various institutions that in the country are doing to giving people training. We have the TVET. In industry, we also have one institution, KITI, Kenya Industrial Training Institute, which gives various trains on various skills, industrial skills. Therefore, we are available for you. We can provide all that. So don't get stuck when you want to set up an industrial outfit, a manufacturing outfit. Of course, there are other areas that we may need to refer you to certain more other bodies because of issues of quality. For example, if you want to, in the line of pharmaceutical, we will require that you also link up with the PPB, and also other specialized areas. There are government bodies that provide you with the way to go about it in terms of quality certification and all that is required to set up. So don't get stuck. When you have a good idea, come to us and we'll assist you. Thank you. Now this is the end of this session. I hand over to the moderator of the next section. Thank you.
Thank you, Purity, for that session. Now we are entering into the last session of today's program. And our session today, the last session, is on digital transformation to drive sustainable industrialization in Kenya. And today we are privileged to have our Secretary ICT, Mr. Emmanuel Kata, who is representing the PA. So, Bwana Kata, karibu sana.
Thank you, Director Irungu. As Director Irungu has indicated, my name is Emmanuel Kata, Secretary ICT Security and Audit Control at the State Department of ICT and Digital Economy, which is under the Ministry of Information, Communications and Digital Economy, and the Digital Economy. I'm here to represent my Principal Secretary, Engineer John Tanui, who was supposed to be here with you, but due to work exigencies, he could not make it, but he's ably represented. So the keynote that I will read is not my words, these are the words of the Principal Secretary, but I stand by them and will be able to defend them anywhere. I bring you greetings from the ministry, from our minister, Cabinet Secretary, Honorable His Excellency Honorable William Kapogo, who is the CS Information, Communications and the Digital Economy, together with the two principal secretary, Stephen Isaboke, the principal secretary at Broadcasting and Telecommunication, and my boss, Engineer John Tanui, the principal secretary, ICT and Digital Economy, whose speech I will read now. Honorable Cabinet Secretaries, esteemed Principal Secretaries, the Chairperson and members of the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, distinguished delegates, captains of industry, innovators, and all our partners in development, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Good afternoon once more. It is a distinct honor to address the third Kenya Industrialization Conference and the Changamuka Festival, an event perfectly themed, driving Kenya's manufacturing competitiveness through inclusive, sustainable industrialization, economic diversification, and trade partnership. My topic today, digital transformation to drive sustainable industrialization in Kenya, is not merely academic. It is the roadmap for how we will transition Kenya's manufacturing sector into a green, competitive, and globally compliant engine of economic growth. We recognize that sustainable industrialization cannot be achieved without sustainable infrastructure. The digital layer we are building is precisely that sustainable infrastructure, a digital superhighway that will underpin every factory, every product, every trade partnership in the new economy. The foundation of sustainable industrialization is a robust, ubiquitous, and reliable sustainable digital infrastructure. Our government, through Kenya National Digital Master Plan 2022-2032, is executing an ambitious plan to ensure a secure, resilient, future-proof digital public infrastructure, or what we call DPI. The backbone of this vision is the Digital Superhighway Program. Expansion, we are aggressively rolling out an additional 100,000 kilometers of high-speed fiber optic infrastructure. This monumental effort is designed to connect all public institutions, including government offices, schools, and hospitals, providing the critical bandwidth necessary for modern industrial operations. And for these 100,000 kilometers, it is a partnership between the private sector and the public sector, where the government is doing 53,000 kilometers, and the private sector, through people like Biobab, Google, Safaricom, KDN, are doing 47,000 kilometers. To ensure this connectivity is democratized and accessible to small and medium-sized enterprises and citizens, we are establishing 25,000 public Wi-Fi spots across the country. That's in markets and public areas, so that internet is accessible and affordable to all. 2, 1,450 village digital hubs in every ward, and if a ward is the smallest political unit in Kenya, providing critical access points for digital skills, e-commerce, and public services. This is all to be able to bridge the digital divide so that we can reach each and every Kenyan. We are collaborating with the private sector to expand fiber to the home and business, aiming to add 8.5 million connections and ensure affordable and inclusive broadband for all. For industrial infrastructure to be truly sustainable, it must be smart. That is, digital tools like Internet of Things, sensors, and artificial intelligence are essential for optimizing resource use, a core principle of sustainability. They enable real-time monitoring of energy consumption, predictive maintenance to prevent costly failures, and optimization of logistics, all of which minimize waste and reduce the carbon footprint of the manufacturing sector. We are pioneering advanced concepts like digital twin technology, which creates a precise virtual replica of physical assets or systems. This allows our urban and industrial planners to simulate scenarios like traffic flow, energy grid performance, and facility layouts. By testing sustainability measures in a virtual environment, we can optimize efficiency and resource use before a single brick is laid, as demonstrated in projects like Konza Technopolis. Digital transformation directly enhances the competitiveness and compliance of Kenyan industry. The successful digitization of government services through platforms like eCitizen is a significant step. By automating service delivery, we are reducing additional friction, eliminating delays, enhancing transparency, making it easier for manufacturers to obtain licenses, pay taxes, and comply with environmental regulations. And by the way, eCitizen services have gotten to over 22,000 at the moment and still growing. Data is the new oil for sustainable development. The ongoing work to implement a robust and successful digital public infrastructure is focusing on interoperability, data governance, and secure data exchange. This will enable policymakers use real-time aggregated data to monitor progress on our Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, establish responsive development programs, and accelerate the growth of a data-driven economy. A sustainable economy is one that benefits all citizens. Digital transformation must therefore be inclusive. We are committed to addressing the urban-rural divide by promoting digital literacy and upskilling. Programs such as Ajira, Digital, Jitume are equipping millions of Kenyans, especially youth and women in rural areas, with the digital skills necessary to participate in the digital and creative economy. To ensure access, we are actively engaging the manufacturing sector on the prospects of assembling low-cost, quality mobile devices in Kenya. This is a crucial step to lower the cost of entry and truly democratize the benefits of our digital infrastructure. Ladies and gentlemen, the integration of the digital tools into our national infrastructure and industrial processes is not an optional luxury. It is a strategic necessity for sustainable growth. It is the path to achieving green and sustainable digital innovation. The journey from strategy to execution requires collaboration. I urge the private sector, our academic institutions, and all development partners gathered here to invest in deployment of smart green technologies across your supply chains, collaborate with us on the rollout of the digital superhighway, especially in last mile connectivity, prioritize the training and upskilling of your workforce to utilize these new digital capabilities. Kenya is poised to be a continental leader in this revolution. By working together, we will build a digital infrastructure that is inclusive, resilient, and transformative, ensuring that no Kenyan is left behind in the pursuit of a sustainable industrial future. Thank you, asante sana, and God bless.
Thank you, Bwana Kata, for that good presentation. Now that we are short of time, I want to request if we have a representation from Konza. Do you have anyone from Konza? Konza Technopolis? What about Kipi? Anyone from Kipi? Then anyone from University of Nairobi? What about Climate Envoy International Climate Initiative from GIZ? We don't have anyone from those institutions, so I would request the audience, if you have any question to the presentation that has been made by Mr. Carter, representing Engineer John Tanui, you can raise the question so that our guest speaker can address any issue. Thank you. Any question from the audience? I can see one from that head. And kindly, because of time, make sure that precise one or two questions. Any other are good. So can we have the mic, please? We have two questions. One down here and one up there. Kindly, let's have a functional mic. Yes, but I meant we get.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Carter. I think we are very impressed by what Kenya is doing in this space. I'd like just to raise a few issues. One is, in this day and time, when I go to my village, I can't get the network, the mobile network. So how are you making sure? I have to look for it in the village or in the compound. So there are still challenges of access. Then number two, how are we going to make sure we are not left behind in this AI evolution? And finally, how are you securing your network so that we are not hacked or conned or things, a lot of games that are played? Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. The other on at the top.
Yes. Okay. Now, Mr. Carter, the question are, number one, does the ministry have any initiative to support youth-led startups and innovations within the digital economy? Suppose that one is concerned, because having participated in Ajira digital trainings, some of the people that I know have never been absorbed, and the kind of links that they receive from government trainings in order to sustain their lifestyles are not making sense in the long run. So maybe a recommendation that is not really working. And again, how does the ministry support digital literacy programs to equip youth with employable ICT and innovation skills?
Thank you. One of the challenges of industrialization in East Africa is that we do not have a system to verify each other's degrees. So there's no interoperable system where we can verify each other's degrees. So what is your position on creating a regional system similar to the European EDC system, where all institutions in East Africa can easily verify each other's degrees so that labor can migrate easily, and because we are in one common market, we can all benefit more efficiently? Thank you.
Thank you. I want to request Secretary Carter to address the questions.
Okay, thank you so much. First question was from Bwana Nyongesa regarding mobile connectivity at his village home. And what I would like to say, Kenya has made big strides in that direction, and I think we are one of the countries that has connectivity throughout the country. But if there are areas that we don't have connectivity, that is why we have the Communications Authority and the Universal USF, the USF funds. They are there to enable connectivity and to ensure they drive connectivity to areas which do not have connectivity. Maybe you can share with us your area in the village, and we will be able to communicate that to the Communication Authority. The other thing is what we are doing so that we are not left by the AI revolution that is hitting, and this is what we are calling mainly the fourth industrial revolution. And Africa, and Kenya to be specific, is poised to be a leader in this. Why? We have all the ingredients to enable us to be a leader. We have a youthful nation, an educated nation, and the population demographics are in favor for us, because the fourth industrial revolution is about cyber and physical industry, and cyber will play the biggest role. Now, our biggest challenge is to academia and also to all of us. Today we can see in the artificial intelligence era, most of us are using ChatGPT, Cloud, Perplexity, which other one? Do you have? Yeah? Grok, and all those. Where are these algorithms coming from? Where are these chatbots coming from? They are all from two countries in the world. Is that so? Either the US or China. Now, the biggest challenge we have to academia first is to develop our own algorithms and to the general population. Secondly, is create, because what we are doing is we are using our data sets to train those algorithms from those two countries. So by the time we start picking up, the algorithms will be mature enough and will be working for everybody in the world. Today in Kenya, we have our own chatbot, which many Kenyans have never used, and maybe some of us don't even know that it exists in Kenya. How many of us have heard of Simba? Hands up. Simba based in Nakuru? Oh, nobody. Irungu, you have never heard. Wow. Now you can see where we have been left. Google today, look for Simba. We have a chatbot. We are not growing our own algorithm, built in Kenya and growing in Kenya. But we are busy. When I quickly give you a question, you'll all go to ChatGPT, you'll all go to Cloud, you'll all go to Perplexity to get answers. We need to support our own in Africa and in Kenya. That's how we will be able to grow. How are we securing the networks to avoid the hacks? One, I want to share, to get 100% security, you have to close your networks and therefore trade with nobody and talk to nobody. So that's not an option. Two, we are working on collaboration. That is my field. We are collaborating with various, because security is all about collaboration. We are collaborating with NC4, with Defense, NIS, and Communications Authority, and the critical infrastructure industries to be able to create a robust and resilient framework that will be able to support. One, we are able to detect and we are able to respond in good time, because it's not about whether you will be attacked, it's about when will you be attacked and how will you respond. So it's an issue of creating the proper frameworks to be able to support when that incidents, and we are currently in the process. We are not 100%, but we are happy to collaborate with anybody in the industry. The other question, those who are from Nyongesa, the other gentleman, I didn't get his name. How are we supporting startups and the people who have been digitally skilled? I hope I got the question right. To be able to get jobs. You realize with the 1450 digital hubs that are being proposed and that are already built and we are equipping at the moment, the hubs will have three functions. The first thing will be skilling, just like you did do with Ajira, and most of those Ajira programs, Jitume and all that will all be brought under the digital hubs. That's the final focus. So they will have digital skilling, incubation to be able to help them start up, and a section for them to do their business. So all digital hubs will have 3 sections at a minimum, and that's what we are aiming. The other thing we're working with development partners and also collaborating with industry to be able to create as many digital jobs as possible. The only problem and the only thing we have to work on in Kenya, for example, I'll give you a good example. In the cybersecurity industry, at the moment in the world, and that was as of last year, we had a demand of over 3.5 million jobs. But unfortunately, our Kenyans are not able to access. Why? The level of skilling that we are doing for our people. That's another thing which you need to look at carefully. It's not just churning graduates who are not employable. Are we giving them the right skills? And I'll give you a good example. Countries like India, where the last year of their university education concentrates on industry, such that by the time that student leaves that campus, the industry is ready to pick them and use them. Unlike in our situation where we churn out graduates and we have to employ them and reskill them so that we can be able to use them. That's something we need to have a discussion with the academia and see how we can move towards that. And the best way we can be able to move towards achieving that is matching universities with industry, so the industry can help them develop the skill that will be needed outside there. We need them to get their first job, because the minute they get their first job, they'll be able to grow to the other jobs. Thank you. I don't know. The other one was the regional system to support interoperability. That's something already in discussion within East African community. But before we get there, we need to start home first. How interoperable are our systems in the country? That's what we are working on. Currently, as a ministry and other stakeholders, we are working on a data policy for the country, which will have interoperability in its center stage. Because we have a lot of data. Can we be able to sanitize this data to create our data sets and educate our algorithms? Why are we relying on outside systems? And that the data policy will be able to support that, and we are hoping at least by the early part of next year, that policy should be at public participation, where we encourage all of you to contribute. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Carter, for comprehensively answering those questions. Now that we're in a digital age, do you have any other question? Any other question on digital transformation? So I want to thank Mr. Emmanuel Kata for that good presentation and responding to all the questions comprehensively. And I think I would want to encourage every one of us to take in interest in ICT. I think as we, during the daytime, we had one of the members of the audience talking about AI. And I think instead of worrying too much about AI replacing us or things we do, the best thing to do is to be skilled in AI so that AI will require your skills for it to work efficiently. For those with the young kids, these days, if you're not keen, they get their homework, take a picture, whatever platform they're using in AI, they get the answers, copy and paste. So the question is, how are you able to detect that as a parent? So taking interest in AI, you can study AI, you don't have to go to school. All you need is internet, and our secretary has said internet penetration in Kenya is quite good. So we're able to make use of what we have as a country to better ourselves. So with that, I want to invite our secretary, Industrial Secretary, Professor Katebe, to handle the next session. Karibu sana. But before I do that, I want us to appreciate Mr. Kata once more. And this time around, we are going to do some mathematics. So, and there's a gift. Oh, good. I'm very reminded that we have gifts. But before the gift, I want us to appreciate our secretary. We are going to do a factorial, so that at least now that he's in ICT, we are going to do 3 factorial. 3 claps, 2 and 1. So 1 to go. 1. Thank you. So the gifts can come. Professor, now that both of you are secretaries, I think. Oh, good. So do we go down there so that we can take a picture? How about you, sir? Sorry. Is that good enough? No. Prof, karibu.
Thank you, Secretary ICT, and I'm so happy that he has told us we are in the digital space, and AI is part of us. That is the 4th industrial revolution. So as you have seen, or what the others have said, we need to protect everything for ourselves. So this afternoon, I am so happy for the issues that have been discussed. Of course, including the labor market. When we are here trying to talk about industrialization, we are looking at how many jobs can we create. And I think Dr. Wajiko from labor has given us the statistics. They don't look good, but they are promising, because we should always look at opportunities where we feel we need it is a challenge. For me, it's an opportunity. As was said yesterday, the other day, I think we should be looking at opportunities. I'm challenged to hear that we have about 3.5 jobs that had come, and none of our youngsters, the one that were defined 20 to 34, could not apply because of the skilling. So this afternoon, as we come close to the industrialization week, or the industrialization conference, I want to thank all of you. I'll be handling the sessions, including for my PS who is away with the Parliament in Mombasa. So on behalf of here, the Principal Secretary, as well as the Minister, Honorable Kenya Jui, I want to thank all of you. I want to say asanteni. I want to say it has been a marvelous learning 2-day sessions. We have gone to Shagamuka on the other side. We started it on Monday. Then when it was opened by our Principal Secretary, State Department of Industry, Dr. Juma Mukwana, we have been going for shopping. That is where we call it Shagamuka. Shagamuka, I don't know, be excited, to go and get something for yourself. When you take yourself out, that is what it is all about. I went around and I saw they were offering a lot of sales, and at very concessional rates. I'm sure most of us have done it, and it is still open until Saturday. So even tomorrow is a Shagamuka day, this afternoon is a Shagamuka day, and even Saturday. So if you have not grabbed your Shagamuka something for yourself, I think it is still open, and I think we are also excited to see our manufacturers, our SMEs. Remember, we were given very good statistics. When it started, there were only about 20 exhibitors, 20 manufacturers. Today, we have over 330 SMEs who are exhibiting, who are selling product. Buy Kenya, build Kenya. And that is very encouraging. So this afternoon, as I was looking at statistics, especially in terms of what we need to do as the ministry, as the Department of Industry, as a government, we have a role and a big role to play in terms of what needs to be done. So if I look at all the 10 sessions, I think the ICT also excited me because it has shown the skill gap that we don't have. So our academia, which has been here, I think they have a role to play. We need to link, as what the Secretary has said, the retooling, the reskilling of our programs in the universities, in the TVET, so that what we produce as our graduates are not just degrees for the sake of them. It is degrees for the purpose of the skills and the job market. And that is, I think, where we have a mismatch. So as part of our resolution today, I think one of them that will come up, and because we'll prepare a final report, is linking industries with academia. I think that is a weak link, and it has been summarized by the Secretary on behalf of the ICT, because that is where the fourth industrial revolution is heading. That is where the jobs are. If you are able to pick about 500,000 jobs, I think would not be having the data that Dr. Wajiko from Labor gave us, would have reduced that. The other aspect we have seen is on financing. I'm happy with what the Kenya Development Corporation, and it came out clearly that we have not been able to access the financing, and we have many institutions offering finances. As was said earlier, if you want to start a small business and you want a government sponsorship from KDC, up to 10 million you can get. But you can also move forward, and if you want to upscale, you can walk the talk with them. I think the start are still open. We can still also look at that. So on financing, I think we need to to make it easier for people to know those services exist. I think the various CEOs gave it to their best in terms of how it can be done. When it comes to standard development, research, and among others, a session yesterday enumerated what need to be done. So in terms of research, KILT was here, KEBS was here, and counterfeit was here in the morning. KIPI is there, among others. So we need to protect our right, and we need to produce people who can go to innovations. I think in terms of innovations, we need to move our innovations to industries and to make them to be incubated. I think various projects, various institutions are there to support. And as a ministry, that is one thing we are going to implement and push forward, so that the numbers that were shared this afternoon, deliberately we brought them so that they can share the number and you can have a take home that we have a role to play. But it's not all, numbers. I think a lot of jobs have been created. The population, we were told, has been increasing from the previous one that was done in 2019 to the current one. I think we were given the numbers. We are 50 plus million. That means as we increase the jobs, also the population is increasing, and we were told the gap of the youth who need jobs, and I think we need to match that with the how many jobs we are doing as industry. As what was mentioned earlier, manufacturing is the only sector that can create good jobs, and good jobs mean well-paying jobs with skills. And I think this is an area that as a ministry we are going to do to make sure that we encourage the ease of doing business. Those who were here yesterday when the cabinet secretary was officially opening this conference, he said that we have priority sectors. As a government, as a ministry, those sectors, we are going to implement them as part of a bottom-up economic and transformation agenda, which is coined within our Vision 2030. I think those are the things, some of the areas that CS enumerated, we are going to see them through. So as a ministry, or as a state department, as a government, because we are part of the executive, we look forward, of course, to making sure all the issues that has been raised here, and especially the questions that have been asked by the youth. I want to thank the youth leader who are here. I think you have stayed here. That show good commitment and leadership. All the issues that you have raised, I think we look at them, because those questions, they form part of what the policies are, because what is not happening in terms of industries, in terms of manufacturing, in terms of the whole aspect of industrialization, that is what we look into. So allow me to say this meeting wouldn't have happened without the cooperation of our private sector. The Kenya Association of Manufacturing, thank you. You have done us good. Our industries, who have been proud sponsors of this event, and of course you as an attendee, those who have been attending since Monday. I'm said even tomorrow we have an open day still for Shagamuka, and of course on all these aspects of what needs to be done. So I want to thank all of you. I want to thank our staff from the ministries and the State Department of Industry and all other state departments, our participants, and our rapporteurs and the chairs of the various sessions. You have done us proud. You have done us a good work. So as a ministry, we look forward to having even a better conference next year in Shagamuka. Our aim is not just to come and give statistics, it's to show the positive trajectory, the forward and the backward linkages of what we are doing. We want to see route to market for your product. So accept our sincere appreciation for your attendance, for those who have sponsored us, those who have participated, everybody who has gone to make this event a success. So I want to say that part of the resolution is to thank you, because without you it would not have been possible. So I want to bring the meeting to a close, but that does not stop networking. But before that, I think somebody is going to give a vote of thanks. And on behalf of the Cabinet Secretary, the Principal Secretaries, and the entire ministry, accept our appreciation. We want to give a vote of thanks, then we have the national anthem, and then we can have a networking cocktail. Asanteni, Mungu awabariki, and we look forward to a more industrialized Kenya, a fourth revolution country.
Let's give him another round of applause for that wonderful session. Indeed, Bwana IS, it is a moment the staff of the State Department for Industry, those who took part in various roles here and there to make this event a success, and even just attending, we say thank you, na karibu tena na tena, and that extends to other staff that have joined us from other state departments to witness this moment as an occasion where we celebrate. Normally, before we will say it's an industrialization week, where we celebrate a whole week of what is happening within the industry and the manufacturing sector. So we really appreciate your presence here, and together we know that we are going to grow this country beyond what it is right now. So to our directors, led by our industrialization secretary and the secretary for administration in his absentia, we really appreciate for your commitment to ensuring that the mandate of the industrialization, or rather the manufacturing sector, is propelled to higher heights. So thank you so much. We also appreciate our speakers. Among our panelists, I know the ICT guy was projecting some of the quotes that we have been able to capture. These are not just any messages. I happen to be in the media space, and scripting, when we are doing scripting, we are normally told a movie does not start, it begins. And a movie does not end. It does not stop, it ends. Why I'm using my hands to prolong the begin and prolong the ends, it's because before it starts, there was something. And by the time it's reading end on your end, it doesn't stop. It continues in your mind. So whatever the speakers brought to us will remain with us. Before that, there was a story to it. This is the story that we are going to continue into our minds beyond the stop of this conference this afternoon. So it is not a stop, it is an end. And that also extends to our manufacturers, the private sector players who came here, gave us their mind towards the policy, the manufacturing policy. We really appreciate, because this is what is going to propel this country further. We are a platform where we all sit and dialogue and forge a way forward. So thank you so much. To our principal secretaries, yesterday the day was crowned by the Principal Secretary for Trade, Ms. Regina Obam, and our Principal Secretary started us off on Tuesday, for those who were able to join us on Tuesday, and representatives of other PSs who were to be here, but they were held elsewhere, of course, in their duty to make this country scale to high heights. So we really appreciate, and in the absentia, we say thank you. We have our sponsors, those who took time, put their resources aside, and they were able to chip into the success of this event. We really appreciate, and more so we want to appreciate the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, the umbrella body within which all these manufacturers came together, and they were able to pull resources towards not just the Industrialization Conference, but also the Changamka Festival that is going on out here until Saturday. So we really appreciate, and may God bless you. And that also extends to those who are exhibiting, and I know that a lot is there to learn. So also for our CS in his absentia, for crowning our day yesterday with very logical discussions that, as I have said, they did not stop. They just ended. So thank you so much, and feel appreciated, feel that the State Department for Industry is just a place where you just walk in and you get your help. Bring in your ideas, we'll connect you to the right people, and you'll be able to grow your businesses beyond what you're thinking. So above all, the good book says it is for us to plan, but God makes it happen. So we thank our Almighty Father for giving us this opportunity. We planned, He made it happen. Thank you so much. I invite our Deputy Director for Industries, Madam Lydia Mwenga, to crown it all with a word of prayer. Then we conclude with the band. Thank you so much, the National Police Service Band, for giving us that vibrancy that we really needed for this event. Thank you so much. Na karibu after maombi. Thank you so much.
Let's rise up for a word of prayer. Almighty Father, in the name of Jesus, we want to thank you for being with us. You've been gracious to us, O King of Glory, since we started this conference. We've seen your grace, we've seen your guidance. Thank you for good conclusion we've had, and thank you for everything that you've enabled us to finish well, in the name of Jesus. We thank you for the evening. As we part ways, we invite your presence, we invite your grace. Continue guiding us and continue blessing us. In Jesus' name we pray. And band.